May is a great time of year to be on the water here in the UP. I spent some time on a Schoolcraft County lake with Scott Cormier in search of pre-spawn largemouth.
Just hiding up underneath that pontoon boat this morning, probably getting ready to go up to spawn.
And I was out on Lake Gogebic with guide Tim Long for the opening day of walleye season.
Stick around, it's time for discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
Every 6 months in the UP is a big hook or bullet holiday. November 15th, opening day of gun deer season. May 15th, opening day of walleye season. One of the more popular spots for walleye fishing is Lake Gogebic, and I was curious to see what this lake looks like on the opener. I wasn't disappointed. There were boats everywhere. I jumped on board with fishing guide and pro Tim Long of the Timbers Resort for a day on the water.
I think we're going to try a trolling pass along this shoreline, staying in 5 to 8 feet of water. We're going to start out trolling with a number 5 flicker shed, small, young of the year type bait. Variety of colors. Let the fish tell us what they like. We have the Precision Trolling app. Click on that. Go to Berkeley, flicker shed number 5. And like I say, we're in 9 feet of water, so we want to run a couple feet up off the bottom here. So 7 feet. You want to go back 51 feet. We want to run 6 feet down, 34 feet back. So we're going to run a variety of depths because we're going to be sliding in and out. Maybe up to 5-6 feet of water. So we'll do 25, 35, 45. That's how we're going to run our baits. And I'll show you a little trick that I use for hooking up my boards. I put some line twists in the line here. I try to make the loop as small as possible. I put the loop forward of the clip. I leave a little slack between the 2 pinch points. That allows that tattletale flag to work. But what that does is when a fish pulls that board back, I can snap that rod tip. That line will release from that front clip. The board will spin around backwards. And then I can bring that board in straight behind the boat. Instead of having to rotate rods, really works nice. I'll show you give you the demonstration when we catch a fish. Okay. So then I can snap that, turn around. It's coming straight up the back of the boat. Doesn't feel terrible. Keeping tension on that fish at all times. Nice head shake on there. Nice walleye. Oh, he's not hooked very good. I'm gonna lose this fish. We'll be a little bit more prepared next time. Purple. Purple's always good in this lake. Little guy. Perch. Look at that. I'm gonna have my head on a swivel here and keep track of boats. I'm gonna hoist them in just like a professional bass fisherman. Just about 14. Yep.
This walleye was clipped by the DNR during their spring survey this year.
Keep that one.
Pass number 2 along the same shoreline. By now, I'm learning how to help set out the planer boards. I did actually film me doing this and accidentally deleted the footage.
This is a nice fish. Northern. When that board goes back, spin the handles real hard. Get that rod tip loaded up. Get that board loaded up in the water. Then you can take it out of the rod holder. Totally believe in that method. You lose fish when you put slack in the line. Is that a northern? Yeah. Outside one. Huge smallmouth. What a tank. Look at that smallie. 18 and a half. Nice looking smallmouth.
Pass number 3. The rest of the boats cleared out for lunch, and I'm glad we didn't. Also, someone please let me know what kind of birds these are.
I try to keep that rod tip down to keep that fish under the water so he isn't up on the surface shaking his head and spitting the hook. This is a dandy walleye. Beauty. 20 and a quarter, but I'm keeping it because we're gonna eat fish.
I'm good with that.
Nice. Hopefully this is the right species. Always keeping tension on that line. Don't ever give them any slack. Get in the basket. We've been catching fish in 8 to 13 feet of water. In the morning, we were catching them in the 8 feet of water. Second pass was kind of slow. Sun was high, slid out into a little deeper water. Picked up a few more, so we're gonna keep at it. Gonna make another pass. The last pass was a pretty good one. So we're gonna try it again. This is our spot too.
This second fish on our last pass looked like it was going to be a good one.
Oh, big head shakes. Big walleye. Walleye. Just snap my line.
But this walleye had other plans.
Just snap my line. Big. 26 or better, maybe.
Ooh. We couldn't end the day on a heartbreak. We stuck it out and caught 2 more walleyes. One small and one keeper that was also clipped by the DNR this year. Back at the resort, Tim cleaned up our 5 walleyes and gave me a tour of his bait and tackle shop.
There isn't anything in here that doesn't catch fish on this lake. It's all been proven, tested by me. It all works. It's all good stuff. We also have a selection of minnows, sucker minnows. This is a river mix. And then we have some crappie minnows.
And Tim had to replace the lure we lost today on that big walleye.
One left. Guess what? That's mine. Purple was working today. What I seen in a live well after I got them fish out of there, I might switch over to the flicker minnow instead of the flicker shad. Match the hatch.
I hooked up with Scott Cormier for a gorgeous May day on the water. The sun was out and the lake was perfect. The boat wasn't too bad either. We were on the hunt for early season largemouth.
There we go. Well, today we're starting off on a beautiful Schoolcraft County lake. Nice little UP largemouth to start the morning. Weekend before Memorial Day. So everybody's starting to head up here to the North Woods and put their docks in on the lake and make it all nice and pretty. We're actually out here this morning trying to find some pre-spawn largemouth, one of the larger inland lakes in the UP. We're just seeing if these fish are starting to come up shallow a little bit. Pretty healthy fish, just a pretty fish. Water temp's still pretty low. We had a really cool night last night. So we're just kind of fan casting, trying to find some of these hard targets and see if we can get some fish that are starting to move up shallow. Hopefully put on a pretty good show today. We'll see. Just a little guy out here cruising. Boy, these fish are so healthy. All the different year classes we've seen. So we kind of want to get their attention. So this is called caffeine shad siren color. It's actually one of the best smallmouth colors known to man. I mean, smallmouth love these, especially down on Beta Knock and everything, but this will really get their attention, hopefully. You just had to throw that thing that wakes them up. Up here on this little shallow flat, just starting to spawn. Such healthy fish, such pretty fish. Let's get him back. Little guy up by the pontoon boat. Right, we were supposed to be up by the pontoon boat, getting ready to go do his thing. I'm back. Right where he's supposed to be. He read the book.
Off the bed under a dog.
He's marked up a little bit. Just hiding up underneath that pontoon boat this morning, probably getting ready to go up to spawn. You can tell he hasn't even bloodied up his fins yet, so he's not even close to spawning yet. Water's still about 53 degrees here, so still pretty cool. Let's get it back in. Just blind casting that little Senko out in front of the boat. You know, that's what's nice about this lake. It's so healthy. There's so many different year classes. You figure we've probably caught four different year classes already. And that's probably only a 12-inch fish, but in a few years he's going to be pretty. I mean, he's just perfect fish. Let's get him back. We're in that clear water. Yeah, I threw it in there and she came from the front of the pontoon boat, moved a lot of water to go grab that. But that's a classic spot for a bass to hang up, because if you look, this is the first dock structure before this huge bay that goes back in here. So it's really the first piece of hard cover that these fish are gonna kind of run into before they come in. So they'll stop here and set up, then move their way back to spawn. So perfect spot for a fish. Fish that are just about legal. Tell you what, taking advantage of Michigan's catch and release season this time of year, weekend before Memorial Day, the crowds aren't out. There's a bunch of walleye fishermen and bluegill fishermen up here, but we'll let this little guy go. See if he's got a friend up there too. Well, right now what we're trying to find is some of these fish that are going to go up in stage to go up to spawn. This is one of the largest spawning bays on this lake. You'll see it's a pretty big, large expanse, and there's actually old reed beds and some old milfoil beds in here, but there's actually pieces of hard cover. There's wood, a log or a stump somewhere in here, and what we're looking for are those fish that are staging to come on up onto this flat and spawn. As we saw just a few seconds ago, there was a small fish on a bed already, so they might have started bedding on that last full moon last week. There you go, honey. Come here. Come here. There we go. Look at that one. That's what we came for. Just what we needed. Put her back. So if you guys are into wacky rigging like I am, especially if we're going to be throwing some stuff around these docks, VMC's come up with a really cool system so you don't lose as much tackle. So you have this O-ring here. This spreads it, put your worm on there, and then slide it up on the worm. So now you have it about in the center of the worms where you want it. Using a VMC wide gap, you go right underneath it. Instead of tearing up your plastic on your bait all the time, you can wacky rig it like that. Spring is a great time to be on the water in the UP. Right now, it's right before Memorial Day. Fish are starting to move into these shallow bays. Look, there's one with them. We've been catching fish deep, moving shallow. They're starting to stage to come up and spawn. After the spawn, they're gonna start working their way back out to the main lake. So all these old drop-offs, big outside weed lines, some hard cover such as boat docks and stuff, are all places to look at. So what we've done today is we did a lot of fishing with a lot of different lures. We were throwing some stuff around docks. I was throwing jigs, some creature baits. Hit it 3 times. We're throwing some floating worms, a bunch of different things up shallow. But as we started working deep, we started working with some chatter baits, some spinner baits, even throwing a couple jerk baits and crank baits in there too to get some of those fish a little bit more active that are a little bit more deep.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next week right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.